It reminds me of Acharya Rajneesh, who was greatly moved by the death of his grandfather when he was 7, and who relaxed only after having solved the puzzle of death by getting enlightened 15 years later. In a social gathering, you can easily spot someone who is going through a tunnel by his unpresent presence. Physically, they are there. Psychologically, they are with their pain. But this seriousness is required because waking up is a serious business. The tunnel can also make an increment in your faith in a mysterious way. Its darkness makes you indecisive. The indecision forces you into leaving a lot in the hands of God and even gamble with life. And gambling requires some amount of faith. Though they are not aware of it, but people in a tunnel are very close to the divine. But because of the pain, that communion is numbed. It is as if the doctor is operating on an unconscious patient. But the doctor is very close to the patient and is operating on him. The doctor is close because the patient needs him urgently. Similarly, God is closer to those who are in pain because they are an urgency. In joy, we usually forget the Creator, while in distress, we take His refuge. If we could remember Him even in joy, pain would not be required at all. So it is not an accident that at the nucleus of all religions, we find a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. The pain in a tunnel can also be compared to labor pains. For the child to come out of the womb, the mother has to go through labor pains. Similarly, for your consciousness to come out of the womb of mass consciousness and breathe liberation, your soul has to go through terrible pains. The surroundings of an enlightened master and his company are simply a nursing home where such sophisticated operations can be carried out with minimum risks. Unless and until we come out of the mass consciousness, our soul is destined to keep on getting recycled. And the gravity of mass consciousness is not that easy to escape. You have to move away from the ground like a spaceship. You require terrible strength and persistence. But once you have gone through the tunnel, the pain itself becomes your strength and persistence, because you would never like to go through it ever again. Even writing this chapter was tough for me, because I don't like going back to my past and live the details of my nightmares. But these nightmares can propel you towards the spiritual evolution of the highest order. They can become the fuel for your entire spiritual journey if used wisely. You can make nectar from this poison if you know how to. Now that we know what on a spiritual journey a tunnel is and how much is the pain in it, is there nothing that we can do for someone who is going through it? If someone is taking drugs to escape from the pain every now and then in order to survive, should we just wait and watch? Or is there a way to reduce the agony without interfering with God's divine designs and the purpose of it all? I think there is. I realized this when I thought about the blessed ones who stay with the enlightened. Meditation and the company of an enlightened master can reduce the pain. He assists you in bearing the unbearable and enduring it all. He can bless you with an acceptance for the divine will, with no need to first understand God's ways and then accept them. Now the mystery behind this is that unless the pain of the one going through it attains its ripening, he or she will either not come in contact of someone who can help them or simply refuse to take that help even if offered. Existence follows laws. Water becomes steam only at 100 degrees centigrade, not at 99, not 99.5. Our pain has also got to ripen to fall down from the soul. I have tried to help people in distress and discovered that assistance cannot be injected into someone. You can pray for them and you can patiently wait for your prayers to be answered. The tunnel ends with a big change in your life. God either throws a change in your path straight away or helps you make a decision to go for a change. When you finally come out in the open, the whole planet spreads before you like a garden of choices. You don't know where to go from here, but you certainly don't want to go back. You also know that you will have to make your own decisions henceforth. You may still not be very certain of what you want, but you are absolutely sure about what you don't. Half your job is done. You have created a space for something new. You have regained your potential and thus rekindled hope, and where there is hope, there is everything. The first breeze that brushes against your soul when you come out of a tunnel is that of freedom. I can still remember my first sip of liberation. There is nothing else on earth like it. It has got a very distinct taste, a very peculiar essence. And once you develop a taste for it, you want more and more of it, like everything else. There is freedom, but it contains responsibility. There is trust in it, but it contains fear of the unknown. There is individuality in it, but it contains dependence on the crowd. There is healing in it, but it contains wounds and scars of the past. It is so because the liberation that you feel after coming out of a tunnel is only partial. Total liberation is yet in store for you. They call it the enlightenment. Coming out of a tunnel feels like having come out of a jail after serving a sentence. The jails that we see are not the only jails. There are a lot of invisible jails we all live in, and the tunnel just happens to be one of them. You feel like a prisoner released. You feel as if you have got a second chance at the game of life. As if God is saying, "Hey, take this and let me see what you can do with it." Life becomes more precious for you than it used to be. You have almost lost it and then found it. And the one you have found will never be the one you lost. It is far more valuable. It is because of this that the near-death experiencers are never the same again. God takes it away from you, then gives it back, only to make you realize what you have got. God's compassion is beyond comprehensions. The tunnel lays down the foundation stones for the next chapter of your spiritual journey, the path. It is the phase in which you choose the tools with which to sculpture your soul. Those tools have got their roots in your previous incarnations, and they resonate to your frequency. It is the path that defines what you will be remembered as after you are gone: a musician, a painter, a dancer, a yogi, a spiritual teacher, or whatever you choose. Without a withdrawal, you could not have moved into a tunnel, and without spending some time in the tunnel, you could not have chosen a path. And without choosing a path, where would you go? So you see, it's all very necessary and it's all unavoidable. In this perfect world, everything has its own purpose, its own role to play.